everyone, we're on today. It's just about 5 o'clock on Friday, and thank God for the weekend. And we're on with Jason Habbal, right? It's Habbal, right? That's how you
Habbal, but you can say it how you want to say it.
Okay. And Jason with Vision down in North Carolina. And excuse me, Jason, why don't you it's what is it? Vision Business Systems or
Vision Office Systems? Yep.
Vision Office Systems. So why don't you tell us how long you've been in the industry?
So I have been in the industry for about 14 or 15 years now. Of course, I grew up in this industry. My dad's been in it about 30, actually, I think a little over 40 years now. And so I have been doing this for quite a while, but full-time about 14 or 15 years. And we're in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we've got a couple offices in Greenville, South Carolina, and over in Asheville, North Carolina.
Nice. So since your dad has been doing this for 40 plus years, you pretty much grew up with copy machines. I mean, when you were 5 or 6 years old, you had a copy machine in front of you.
That's right. I was around them all the time. You know, my dad really worked hard to be the best that he could be in our marketplace, and really became kind of a legend in our industry, at least in our region of the Southeast. And so I was there on Saturdays when he was going to work on quotes or get things ready for the next week. So I literally have been around it since I was born, and there's not a whole lot I haven't done. I spent summers working in warehouses and delivering machines, putting machines together. There's just not a whole lot in the business that I have not done at this point.
Right. And you were one of those guys on a Saturday, one of those kids on a Saturday running up to the copy machine, pushing the buttons and making copies and making things bigger and smaller.
That's right. Running around the warehouse and riding the pallet jacks around and all kinds of stuff.
Neat. So what lines you guys currently represent?
So we carry Canon, Sharp, and Muratech on the A3 and A4 side, as well as KIP on the wide format, Canon wide format, and then on the desktop printer side, the majority of what we do is with Brother.
I heard from us chatting back and forth a couple times, the Brother product line has been doing very well for you.
Yeah, we were kind of early adopters with Brother, and I remember I don't know how many years ago, maybe 4 years ago now. My dad went out to their dealer meeting on an invite, and he brought back the little Brother machine they sent one for us to try, and I didn't want anything to do with it. So we're not chasing that business down the street. We're not Best Buy or Staples, and the more we sat down and looked at it, realized it's got a really good fit in the low end segment, and we've done really well with it, and had a really good success out of the product. Its quality and their support is really good for their dealers.
Great. So how about managed IT, content, backups? You guys involved in that?
No, we haven't done anything with IT or anything like that yet. It's kind of been on our radar, but we just haven't dug down into it enough. We've really been looking into things, other complementary products that users are using, and obviously everybody's using it in some form of IT service, but we just don't know that as of right now it's viable for us to try to play in that space right now.
Got it. So besides machines that print, scan, copy, or fax, you guys have any other services that you offer?
Yeah, so we do interactive whiteboards with ClearTouch, and we have a good partnership with ClearTouch. They're headquartered in Greenville, South Carolina, and we have really tried to expand our offerings with them outside of just the interactive boards. We've done our first install of a 138-inch video wall for local government, and so we really are trying to think of the other the other complementary products that customers are using that we can go after.
Right. So I've heard that, and that's really cool. 130-inch board. Gee.
Yeah.
Wow. So I heard that a lot of those interactive boards would be good for county government, municipalities, especially their emergency services office.
Yeah, so I see a lot of the interactive boards. I can definitely speak to what this particular video wall will be used for, and IT will use it as it'll be in a room that will act as almost like a knock.
Yep.
And they'll have all their server mapping and everything so they can see if there's any issues real time. But they'll also use it for any kind of special events if they need to pull up cameras throughout the city during an event, or he said something about traffic lights, seeing which lights are working and not working or need to be changed for an event. And then if they have to use it use the room as a command center for like live interviews and things like that for an emergency, they'll have that set up and they can use it for emergency operations as well. So they had a really unique, or maybe not unique, but they had a really good picture or plan of where they wanted to go and what they wanted to do. And they started with just looking at low bezel TVs that they would put together, and the CIO of the city, once he saw the capabilities of the video wall itself, which obviously are in tiles, magnetic tiles that go together, and they got really excited with what they could do with it from there.
Right.
So we'd like to expand on that. We feel that, or we've been told that maybe they'll be doing another one soon, a bigger one in the council chambers. So we're looking forward to expanding that partnership with them.
Okay. Was that a decent amount of revenue?
It was probably in the neighborhood of about 50,000-60,000. So it's a nice,
wow.
It's a nice revenue piece.
Wow, that's nice.
But I think the one thing that we've learned with the video walls is, that may be something that you sell one or two a year, if that.
I'm okay with that.
But I'll take it all day long. Don't get me wrong.
Right. I hear you. So for you specifically, your sales efforts, are they focused more on, are you majors, SMB, production, or you just cover the whole gamut?
I do a lot. I do cover our major accounts. But I really enjoy the down the street, onesie, twosie, 5, 10 machines, things like that. I think you get on a much better level with your customer at that point. And, it's still relationship based. It's not transactional.
Yep.
I find we work some of these major accounts, and, we don't have a big relationship with the buyer or the technical people. It's they buy the stuff, and then the next time they want to buy something, they send out an RFP, and if you win it, great, and if you don't, they don't care. And I know there's relationships to be had in that, but I really like the close-knit relationships of the onesie twosie down the street. They're more profitable deals. You need a lot more of them to make up a major account, but they're a lot more profitable. And those people stick with you for years and years and years. I have clients that I handled that my dad sold them machines back in the late 70s. Right. And they followed him everywhere he's been, and now they still buy machines today. So, I do most of that, and then of course the management operations of the company as well.
Cool. So We're going to talk a little bit about COVID. How's the last 12 months been?
You know, for the last 12 months, and of course, I'm sitting in my home office right now, but you know, we did not have as bad of a year as I thought. Obviously, clicks were way down, but our revenue from a hardware side was actually up last year.
Nice.
And so we were happy with that. You know, when I got word pretty early from some friends of mine that North Carolina would go into a shelter-in-place order. Didn't know exactly when, but I knew it was coming. And so I was sitting at home on a Friday evening trying to figure out if we go in shelter-in-place and we have to stay home, you know, what are we going to do? And I start hearing about essential business and all that. So I'm researching, but I started thinking about how, you know, if people are not in the office or people are very concerned, how we can monetize this pandemic. I mean, how can we sell a product that people are going to be needing? And so I actually talked to a good friend of mine up in Chicago, and they were selling the temperature scanners. And so we jumped on those, and July was a really bad month for hardware, but it was a really good month for temperature scanners. And that really helped us get through the summer. And, you know, but once we got into December, you know, things were still tough, but our revenue was higher or was up over the last 12 months, and is looking very good for 2021 to be higher than that.
Well, how's the last 3 months been?
3 months, the last 3 months have been absolutely wide open. I think people are, you know, taking politics aside and out of it. I think people are just tired of being stuck at home. People are tired of not being around people. And so, you know, most of the people that I'm meeting with are, you know, they're saying, come in the office, come talk to me. I don't care. You know, let's just do it. And so we have seen a very large increase in meetings, and of course, hand in hand, the revenue has been really nice the last 3 months. We're doing really well with that.
Right. So during COVID, did you guys do anything different to find net new clients?
Well, you know, we for probably in late 2019, obviously not knowing anything about COVID, we had neglected our web presence pretty much altogether. You know, for a number of reasons. We had been down the road with several, you know, supposed web gurus that, you know, we didn't feel we got anything of substance out of. Some of those things were because we wanted something that they want to do something different. But we turned it over. My wife has a background in marketing, and we kind of turned everything over to her to completely redesign the website, really start taking a look at our content throughout the various channels of social media, on the web, anything like that. And that went live really early 2020. And we really started tracking, you know, what we were doing based on our website. And, you know, with really only bringing in inbound leads for probably realistically the last 6 months of the year, you know, we can attribute it to, you know, well over $100,000 in business, which of a dealership of our size, $100,000 is a nice bit.
Yeah.
I think this year we will probably do in the 300,000 to 400,000 range, just based off of our inbound strategy. And so we did that, and then we also started our own leasing company. So that really, we're building that up, and that's another kind of undertaking that we really started in 2020 to, you know, I guess as they say, start banking money.
Right. So your inbound strategy, was that more of doing more with social media?
You know, we did a lot with social media, but one thing that we always argued about on our executive team with the I don't know how to say it other than the old guys versus the young guys, was why they didn't think it was important to be, you know, ranking highly in Google and any other traffic or searches or anything. And so, you know, once we started really getting understanding that, hey, people don't go to page 3 of Google to find something. You know, you're going to get the first probably, you know, 3-4 people on the hit list that you're going to realistically look at. I know personally, I don't look at more than about 3 links on something. So we really started looking at the Google Analytics and the SEO. What people are searching for is the biggest thing. You know, you can throw spaghetti against the wall and say, oh, I'm sure they're searching for copiers Charlotte, or, you know, copiers, you know, New Jersey, or anything like that in a respective market. But we realized that what we call our products is not what customers call our products. As we know, people call the copier the printer.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we start looking at the analytics of these keyword searches and what people are searching for. So we targeted those in our ad spaces and keywords and all of that.
Nice. So now that we're in a post-COVID environment, just keeping the same thing going, or doing anything new for net new clients?
You know, we've looked into you know, phone systems, you know, partnering with someone on that. I've had some conversations with some of the you know, I say distributors or partners in that space. So I think we're looking for the next thing. But I realized one thing is, for a while we got so, you know, into just adding products that the salespeople couldn't keep up, and nobody was really talking about anything. So, you know, we just added KIP in, I think, February or March.
Right.
So we're just now getting rolling with that. And so I don't know that we'll add anything this calendar year. I really like to roll things out when everybody's comfortable to start talking about it, and actually finding clients that, you know, that'll actually make a difference.
Got it. So, being a salesperson, you and me, do you have any certain, like, Midas touch that gets you that net new appointment on the phone?
You know, I find appointment setting for me is not very good. And I think that's the importance of our inbound strategy to get people to us. I have been flawed for a long time with appointment setting, and, you know, but I've obviously had a good track record of you know, of doing this business for 15 years, or I wouldn't be here. But
Right.
You know, I'm big on email. You know, I'm not a big phone person. You know, it works for me. Others I know love the phone and hate the email.
Yep.
You know, I'm just not very big on the phone. I tend to, even after this many years, still kind of fumble over what I want to get across to the customer in a, you know, in the 30 seconds I've got their attention.
Right. But how about if you're making, you know, you're on a call block and you say, okay, I know I got to make the calls. I really don't want to make the calls, but I got to make the calls. And you start making the calls and left message, not in, out to lunch at 4 o'clock. I love those, out to lunch at 4 o'clock.
Exactly.
Oh, it's 4 o'clock and he's out to lunch. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Or the better yet is you roll through 25 phone calls and all of a sudden you get the DM on the phone and your tongue is freaking tied.
That's right. And that's, you've made 25 calls in the last hour or two, and then somebody picks up and you don't know what to say.
I hear you. I've had some of those. They're actually pretty entertaining times.
You know, I try to leave it very casual. You know, yes, I tell them what I want. I tell them why I'm calling, of course. I'm not beating around the bush that, you know, they're their golfing buddy I met this weekend told me that I should call. I mean, I'm very straightforward with people.
Yep.
I don't mess around with the lies or try to circumvent the correct way of getting to people, and it's really it's worked well for me. And I know I sit and listen to people on the phone sometimes, even in our office, and I go, oh my God, how do you get an appointment talking like that?
Yeah.
Not that anything's wrong with it, it's just not my style.
Yeah.
And so that's that. But I prefer the email the most.
Yeah, so do I. So do I. I had to make some calls today, and I made one, and I never spoke to the people before, and I made the call, and gal picks up the phone, and I said, "Hi, my name is Art, and I'm a first-time caller to your company." She goes, "Oh, that's fantastic." Then I go, well, hopefully it's fantastic. And I'm actually calling about wide format. Our company specializes in servicing and supporting wide format devices. And I'd like to know who I could keep in touch with for when there might be a need. And she came back with, well, I'm that person.
Yep.
Well, I go, well, that's fantastic. I got what I needed, what type of equipment, they're currently in a lease, how long the lease is left. And the end of the phone call, we agreed to touch base in 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. And
Keep it
I
simple.
tell salespeople all the time, if you don't get the information, you might as well have not made the call. I need the decision maker name. I need what equipment they have.
No,
Is it leased or purchased?
right.
If you don't get that information, you really might as well have not even picked up the phone.
Or just say, hey, this first time I've called, because that'll usually get a chuckle, but tell them, I just want to put something in the mail. Who do I send it to? You don't have to put it in the mail, but a lot people are surprised they don't get stuff by mail anymore. And when they do get something by mail, they open it instead of chucking it.
That's right. I tell you, it's funny. People love the mail. It's funny, my dad is semi-retired now, speaking of the mail, and he cannot wait for the mail lady to go by every day. As soon as she goes by, he runs to the mailbox to get the mail. He loves it.
Yeah.
And who doesn't like getting personalized mail that's not junk in the mail every now and then?
How true, how true. So we're going to move on to the next question. And so with all of your devices, is there any feature or application or third-party solution that you're trying to mention to every client?
I tell you, if I dive down deep enough into one product, we really have great success. Sharp has on their machines a receipt scanning solution. And if you know if you know about scanning receipts, when you lay them on the glass, you typically need to put a piece of paper over it so the machine recognizes it as scannable or whatnot. What I love about that feature, and it sells tons of machines for us, is that when you use that multi-crop, is what they call it. When you use the multi-crop, you put all of those receipts on the glass, leave a little bit of space. You multi-crop it, it scans it one time, and each receipt comes in a separate PDF to the user. And so they have the ability to take each individual PDF. Maybe it's my receipt, maybe it's yours, maybe it's Staples, maybe it's whatever, and they archive them where they need to go. And it is a feature on the machine. It's free, or as we like to say, no cost or value add or whatever.
Right.
But it's on the machine from the factory, and the actual users who are using it, they love it. And I can think of, at least 6 or 7 accounts in the last probably couple months that separated us from other machines. And we've used it, and I hear the competitors come back and say, oh, we can scan receipts. And then the customer tells them how the Sharp will do it. And they go, oh, well, no, we would have to have special software to do that, or we would have to, put the paper over the receipts on the glass, or, whatever the case may be.
or by that time it's too late because that salesperson didn't mention it at the discovery meeting.
That's right. That's right. So a lot of times we're well ahead of them. They're trying to play catch up just for something that's on the machine.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about hardware, getting hardware.
Yep.
I've heard stories from a number of people now that A3s are okay. They're, maybe a week behind what they typically were, but A4s are just almost impossible. What are you guys seeing on your end?
We have a discussion probably, I feel like daily with our manufacturer reps about inventory and what we're doing. We have good relationships with our manufacturers. I'll say that to begin with before I say anything. They want us to forecast, but yet we can't forecast because we don't know what they have. And I will say probably for the last 3 or 4 months, Canon has really had no issues that I've been aware of. When I order equipment, we get it the next day, typically out of Atlanta. And I think the worst case scenario for most of the last few months is they don't have it in Atlanta, so they ship it from New Jersey. So it's an extra day or two, no big deal. At that time, now we're kind of at the point they're running out of inventory, and now they're starting to see these 2 and 3 week delays on some equipment.
Right.
And like I know right now we sell a lot of the 30 page per minute Canon A3 color, and I believe right now none of that's available. It's three or so weeks. The problem that I have is that any manufacturer, they tell you no ETA. To me, no ETA means it hasn't left China on the boat yet.
Yeah, I agree.
Somebody has to know, are we talking 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever. Sharp has been kind of up and down. Some machines we get quickly, some are on back order, but A4 has been very tough on that.
And that whole thing with inventory kind of messes up the whole Japanese philosophy, because for years they were all about just-in-time delivery.
That's right.
And I think that that for so many years being in that just-in-time delivery mode and really have got that process down, that this whole pandemic just screwed them all up. All of them, because they don't know how to get back to those, how can I inventory, they've been so focused on just in time, they forgot about everything else.
That's right. I think that's a good way of putting it. It's like they forgot how to, let's make 1,000 of this machine instead of making 150 of them.
Right.
And it really, I believe it was Ricoh, because we were a Ricoh dealer at that time when the tsunami hit in, what was that, 2012 or 13 or 15?
At least back then.
They started air freighting things in if they had to.
Right.
And I don't see that now as them using that option.
Correct. Or how about going to other ports, right? How about going to the port of like Louisiana? New Orleans.
Go to Savannah, go to Charleston, go to in the Gulf, Louisiana, like you said. There's other options, but they want to bring everything right into California. And I know people that work in the ports, and they tell me this stuff's not going to get better before it gets worse. And it's a combination of labor and and COVID and everything else. So I guess the only comforting thing to us in our industry is it's in every industry.
Yeah. And it's helped because once somebody hears about the time frame, it's like, order now, because I don't even know what it's going to be like in 6 weeks from now.
That's right. That's right.
So how about MFP security? Are you guys talking about it? Or I mean, I had a chat earlier with somebody, and every single copier is an endpoint on the network. And I don't think a lot of clients understand what the risk is to them.
Yeah, I don't think, at least in my conversations with clients and IT people and things like that, I don't know that people are putting any kind of emphasis on it yet. And I know there's some dealers who really are from our side, but from the client side, I don't know that I have heard anyone ask. I think a couple times someone has noticed that Canon has McAfee on it and can do this, but other than that, they don't ask questions. They just say, "Oh, that's cool. It's got McAfee."
Right. So are you guys talking more? I mean, as a business owner, would you keep a 13-year-old computer on your network?
Absolutely not.
Right. So why would a client keep a 13-year-old copier on their network?
Yeah. And I think we've got to do a better job with our sales teams,
right?
Of making them understand not just that, oh, it's great that the machine has McAfee on it, but why would that be important, right?
Right.
If, as you said, if you've got a 15-year-old machine or a 5-year-old or a 10-year-old machine, there could be some security vulnerabilities there that need to be addressed.
Just that the firmware doesn't get updated, or there are no new firmware updates, all of that goes along with it. So I was just curious about how you guys were dealing with that. I'm going to move on to the next question. And post-pandemic appointments, you going back to pre-pandemic styles, or going to do more of a in first meeting in person and then virtual after that? Because I mean, I can't tell you how much time we've saved by doing virtual meetings. I know my productivity levels were way up.
Yeah.
I was just curious how you guys feel about that.
Yeah, I've tried to. So I guess for starters, I don't know if I mentioned this. We never left the office. We were not good about getting a work from home strategy. It worked out okay. We never had any real COVID outbreaks. We had quite a number of people who had COVID, but nothing where it took out the whole office at one time. I really. This Zoom and Teams and everything is tough on me, and I'm a techie. I love all this stuff, but I couldn't wait to, not just from not being around people for almost a year or for a year, but I've always done business face to face, or as my dad would say, and I think I heard it from John the other night, belly to belly, and I really. Same thing. We always do business with handshakes, right? And it's very weird for me to sell a machine, send somebody the paperwork via DocuSign, they send it back, and then our guys go and install it, and I'm never there.
Yeah.
And I'm just not comfortable that way. And I don't. Some people will say, "But look how efficient you are," which I agree with.
Right.
You're much more efficient. You can handle so much more at one time. But I just, for me personally, I prefer to be in front of the client. I'm asking people, do you mind if I come into the office? If they say no, then we'll do it by email. We'll do it by Zoom or Teams or whatever. Of course, I'll do whatever makes the clients comfortable. But I'm also not covering an area that puts me 3 hours one way or 2 hours one way and 2 hours back. So I don't know that I'm terribly unproductive by going to the office, to go into someone's, to meet with them.
Got it. So tell me, if you could add one new feature to a copier, what would you add?
That's a great question. And I should have learned this from your previous ones. I should know that. I should have had an answer ready. I think we had something come up the other day in a meeting, and I can't remember what it was, but somebody said they should put this on a machine. I really don't know. I really like. I'm going to pick off of your stuff the other day. I really like the idea of the speed licenses.
Okay.
That's a very neat thought process, because one thing I notice is that salespeople have too many models
Yep.
to remember. Even myself as a veteran, I went through my price book the other day, and there was a Canon machine in there that I didn't even know was a machine.
Right.
And it's been out for, I don't know, a couple months now. I had no idea. So I think that's a great idea to minimize the number of machines. Have one box. You have it if it's as a service yearly or a one time. You buy the speed license and you have it. I think it's a great idea for the future.
I love the variable speed license.
Yes.
So you can have 3 or 4 licenses. Yeah, but that's probably a thought for another day. We've only
the Canon production does that, and I like it because
yep.
You have the 750, 850, they're the same machine,
right?
But the speed license is different. So if they can do it on the big box,
right,
why can't they do it on the small one?
True, and one box, and the box, when you get it in, it's a color box. You got to buy a license to turn on color.
That's right.
Right, one box, all the accessories are the same, and think about it, helps with. I just said, I mentioned lease upgrades. A customer, they get a new machine and they don't know what their volume is going to be, and you put them on a 3-year lease or a 5-year lease, and in a year you find out the machine's too small for them. All that solves that entire issue.
That's right.
So one more question for you.
Sure.
And we're gonna wrap up because Art doesn't have the pay version of Zoom that gets him
neither do I.
40 minutes.
That's right.
What's one piece of knowledge you'd like to share with new reps entering?
One thing that I always did is I always looked at selling in my territory or wherever I was, that my competitors were stealing from me when they were selling machines in a territory. And that was instilled in me very early on in sales. And I think at times salespeople get complacent, and they don't want to make that last call on a Friday afternoon, or they don't want to send that last email. And I don't work 8 to 5. I work whatever time I get up in the morning till maybe it's 9, 10 o'clock at night. I have a client that the only time she'll talk to me is at 5 a.m. in the morning before she gets her day going.
Right.
And that's when she buys machines.
Wow.
She doesn't want to interrupt the workday. So I get up at 4:30, I prepare, we get on the phone, she buys a machine on the spot, and I work the rest of the day. So I think we're not in an 8 to 5 job. And when my competitors are selling in the territory and I'm not selling that customer, they stole money from me. And I've always looked at that, and I try to instill that in our salespeople that we're not 8 to 5 and we got to go and hustle. I
feel the same way when I find out, somebody I've been working on or I've been in contact with, and I find out they bought from somebody else. I go, son of a bitch. Yeah. And some people will say, oh, it's okay, you get them next time. But that's 3, 4, 5 years down the road that I have to wait. And I'm not a patient person. I don't like to wait. I want the business now, and I want everyone's business now. I hear you. Hey, Jason, it's been a pleasure. Always I'm a big fan of yours. I'm a big fan of Vision. And I think more of these videos are going to help a lot of people just see what's going on in different marketplaces and what everybody is doing. And if one gal can take one thing and put it in her pocket to use down the road, I think it's going to make everybody in our industry a little bit better.
I agree. I love it. I think it's important to do. You get the real world's, you and I, and I appreciate everything you do. You have been for what, the better part of a decade now I've known you.
Yeah.
And you've been a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of help to me. And really not just you, you've introduced me to a lot of people who may be able to help when you can't.
Yep.
And that's what it's all about. And I appreciate it. I'm glad we could do this today. I enjoy doing stuff like this, and hopefully it helps, helps out anyone that's watching later on.
I'm sure it will. All right, listen, you have a great weekend. Tell Malia I said hello, and your kids don't know me, but tell them I said hello also.
I will. Tell Kathy hello. I appreciate it. And you have a good weekend as well.
Thanks, buddy. Take
All
care.
right. Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.